Hello, hello, hello. We've managed to get the record button going, and this is The People Speaks Out. Hello and welcome as we wait for people, well, not wait, but as we are sort of hovering for people to drop in. Just want to welcome you. It's the 9th of March, and we are into the spring season. I don't know how spring-like you're feeling, but it's always wonderful to notice that the days are much lighter now, and we've even had some sunshine. I don't know whereabouts you are in the world, whether you've had some sunshine, and it's such a medicine for the soul. I can't even tell you how amazing it feels. Um, Sorry to hear what's been going on at Cressbook, Rachel. That's quite worrying that they trashed all the trees and have sort of, it's like a mass slaughter, isn't it? That's what it feels like, on Mother Earth, which is why I was playing the Mother Earth song, um, to sort of remember and recognise that spring is the rise of the feminine energy coming in with all the spring-like activities and giving birth to new life. So I don't know how you're feeling about new life, but there's a lot been going on since 2 weeks ago. It never stops unfolding, and I'm interested to find out how you're all feeling about all the sort of drama that's going on in our world around us. So the subjects that we may wish to speak around today, and of course you're always welcome to talk about anything you like. You're always welcome. Hello, welcome everybody who's coming in. 9th of March, the People Speaks Out. It's Monday, and we've got some sort of eruption going on, some kind of warlike activities going on in the Middle East. I don't know how that that sort of sits with you, how you're feeling about that, whether you feel as if that regime needs to be cleared out, or whether there's a hidden agenda behind it all, or how I feel that there is actually a significant Stargate in Iran which allows dark forces to come through that Stargate, and so they're trying to protect it, so they can control which entities and who's coming through it. So we think it's about oil, but is it really? I don't know. What do you feel? And how does it feel to think we're on the verge of potentially another, a big war? Obviously, the warmongers love it because it means a lot of reconstruction. And the sort of generally what happens is America then moves into anywhere they've destroyed and gets all the contracts to set up that country again they've just destroyed. So it's really interesting times. Also, it's spring. So also the theme I'm looking around is it time to cleanse? Are you in a detox phase? Do you feel you need to gather some cleavers to cleanse your blood, or to cleanse your liver? What steps do you take to clear the body out in the spring? Or maybe you think it's all a load of nonsense and the body's got its own mechanisms for clearing stuff out and doesn't need to detox or fast. Or how do you feel about that? Is that something you've ever tried? And if so, what have you tried, and how have you felt? Obviously Rachel's been sharing her liver detox and cleanse. How's she feeling? How is anybody else feeling right now? Because obviously it's a shift of the season. We've got the spring equinox coming up next week on the 20th, which is the Friday, which is the balance of the 12 male and female, the 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dark. And also it's calling you to come into balance. What is it that you need to bring into your life, or to take out of your life, to bring in that balance of the masculine and divine feminine meeting in that tiny space, in that little gap between I think it's called the vesica pisca. It's probably very rude the way I'm pronouncing it, but it's that little place in between the two where the two cross over. It's only a small, tiny space, so it's quite difficult to get into that space. But how do we find moving into that, coming into the spring? And how are you feeling? Are you feeling more spring-like, or are you feeling a little bit, maybe a little bit morose around what's happening? And then the other thing, so that's cleansing. What's going on in Iran? What's happening? What do you feel is unfolding, and how does it affect you in your life on this level? How does it affect us locally? And the other thing is Ian Huntley. Obviously, that was an absolute horrific narrative and story that went on, over 20 years ago. I remember my daughter just being born, and it was the summer. I mean, we were in Cornwall, and it was all unfolding as it happening. And obviously, some of you may have heard that he was attacked in prison and rendered sort of on a life support machine, which is now being turned off. And I've noticed all the comments were all sort of absolutely people full of joy that someone had died. How do you feel? Do you feel revengeful and it's like, oh, well, great, we've got rid of him? Or do you feel it's a sad situation, really, that it's come to this? And what do we do with our sort of mass murderers or people that attack children? How do you feel that we should, how balanced are we in the way that we deal with our criminals? Because basically we're run by criminals, aren't we? So it's a bit of a difficult one. Do we need to put them on an island somewhere? Is it good to enclose people in prisons? How does that work for you? Would you want to work in a prison? So there's quite a few things that may be burgeoning, wanting to come out of you for you to share what you feel about the current situation. So down at the bottom, we have our, at the bottom of your screen, you'll have participants, chat, you've got the react button, and when you click on the react button, it's like a little heart. There's lots of options, and one of them is to put your hand up, and then you rise to the surface, and I can see who would like to come and speak, because it'd be lovely to hear from you on those subjects or any other subject that you feel you want to initiate and bring to the surface, bring to the platform. So yes, we'll come over to Rachel and see what Rachel has to say. Meanwhile, while you're putting on your thinking caps and feeling, what is it that I would love to share? And I hope everyone's feeling settled. So we'll just go to Rachel, and if you'd like to unmute yourself, Rachel, we'd love to hear from you and see how you feel any of those subjects or anything else.
Hey S.A.S, thank you. Thanks for hosting.
You're welcome.
I was fully expecting you to do some kind of meditation, but we're straight into it, which is good.
I like to mess things around a bit.
Yeah, well, the way that I'm observing this is it's like seeing the whole thing collapsing before our very eyes. That's what my observation. I mean, for example, Trump has gone from, just literally in the past 10 days or so, he's gone from being this kind of triumphant, invincible leader and just looking like a complete buffoon, to be honest. I mean, this is the thing, he's kind of messing with very different people. I mean, they're essentially, he's killed their spiritual leader, so it's a holy war. And it's interesting, this morning I posted that the Ayatollah Khomeini, who was killed, his son has now been appointed as the leader. And this guy, I was reading, he's literally in this conflict, he's lost his father, his mother, his brother, his wife, and his son, or something like that. I mean, literally, can you imagine if you had lost like so many people close to you and were suddenly appointed leader? You're not going to be in the mood for peace, are you? Really? I mean, and this is the thing, I think that Trump has bitten off way more than he can chew. And the interesting narrative of like, oh, we can't let Iran have nuclear weapons. Well, Israel's sitting there with massive nuclear weapons, apparently, and they've got this thing called the Samson option. I don't know if you've heard of it, but people keep talking about it, and I don't want to cast doom and gloom, but basically Israel has got apparently enough nuclear weapons. The Samson option is to literally bring down the temple and kill everyone with it. So it would, whilst they know Israel would be destroyed, so would many other places. So it's like who said that Israel was allowed to have these weapons, And actually, I was thinking about it this morning. Wouldn't it be good if we said every country should have a nuclear weapon or be in an alliance where there was a nuclear weapon? Because if everyone had a nuclear weapon, everyone would be equally as dangerous, and therefore that's the best route to peace if you think about it. The minute you've got someone who hasn't got a nuclear weapon, they're really vulnerable, aren't they?
Well, maybe no nuclear weapons would be the best option.
Well, obviously that's the best option, but in the current world, Imagine if everyone had a nuclear weapon or access to one, then it's like no one would dare to set one off, sort of thing. Um, but the interesting thing here is about interfering with sovereignty, because this is what Trump is doing. He's basically barging into other countries like Venezuela and Iran and trying to tell them what to do. A bit like Peak Park Authority coming to Crestbrook Dale, telling us what to do, cutting down trees that they shouldn't be doing, whilst telling us we've got to obey a tree preservation order on the entire 53 acres, 47 acres of forest that we own. But they're saying, oh yeah, but it's fine for natural England to cut down all the trees on the bit that we used to own, that there was a blanket tree preservation order. So it's like these external bullies trying to interfere with your sovereignty. And I think this is what it comes down to. Like, we're all sovereign beings, individually and as countries, and no one has the right to go into Iran and tell them what to do. Actually, in my humble
It
opinion.
beggars belief, isn't it, that
And Trump's now saying the next, after they've dealt with Iran, they're going to go into Cuba and sort that out. And it's almost like, who gave him the right? Wasn't voted in by the people of Iran. He was voted in by the people of America. Well, let him focus on America and do what he needs to do. And then he'll probably get voted out now people have seen his true colours, because he got voted in on a peace and no war ticket.
that's right, he did.
So anyway, I could rant for a long time, but I think it's a really interesting times, and I think we're seeing the unraveling of all of this shit show, and it's actually a bit of a pantomime. I mean, obviously it's devastating for the people involved and being bombed, but equally it's like we're seeing these powers that shouldn't be. To me, they're literally collapsing before our eyes. That's what my sense of what's happening here. And what needs to happen? They just need to crumble and fall, all of them.
What about you could say, is Trump clearing the swamp, and is it all these sort of regimes that are going that are
Well, hold on, he's completely in bed with Israel.
well, I know. I mean, I know, but what I'm saying is that that is run by the Britain is rules Israel. It's so like.
But hold on a second. This all kicked off because Epstein files came out. So here we've got a situation where Iran's been attacked and the Ayatollah's been taken out, and yet Epstein and all of the paedophiles, what's happening to them? No one's going in and arresting them. So it's like,
no, that's very true, and that is obviously.
Is he clearing the swamp? No, he's not. He's just detracting focus from the real swamp of horror and creating a war as a massive distraction strategy, in my humble observation. And Epstein was completely linked to Israel and Mossad. So isn't it interesting? Suddenly America and Israel suddenly decide, oh, let's create a war with Iran, wipes Epstein completely out of the timelines because everyone's focused over there now. So it's just,
well, yes, it is a great distraction.
He's not clearing the swamp. I think Trump has shown his true colours. That's the thing, and that's why he shot himself in the foot, because he can't claim to be this amazing hero messiah anymore. It's crumbling.
There are those
the narrative is crumbling.
He's a white hat and that he's working on behalf of of good. I'm not so sure.
He did wear a white hat when he did if you notice the announcement, yes. He wore a white hat. He literally wore a white hat, like, I am a white hat. Well, don't Muslim people and Jewish people wear little white hats as well. They've all got little white hats on, and black hats.
He's got
some are black hats, some are white hats.
Pointy one. It's very
Pope's got a white hat.
No, it's complete madness, but it is.
Ku Klux Klan's got white hats. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I could talk all day.
Well, it's a very precarious situation that we're in, and as we know, I always see Trump as a more Luciferian and then there's also the satanic side. So it's like the best both of them both of them are evil. I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm sitting on an offence, observing what's going on rather than trying to decide. So it's good to be seeing from both sides of what's going on. But however, obviously the people of Iran, so according to our media, whether that's true or not, have been, executed, murdered. It's like a bit like the Taliban, isn't it? In Afghanistan, it's you.
Is that true though,
Well, I
Sass?
don't
Is
know
that
because
true? Is
all I
that
know
really
is,
true?
well, a lot of the
We got
people.
little girls being we've got babies being eaten, as well.
That is absolutely horrific, but that is not being addressed, is it? The mass, the mass network that is going on is such huge degradation. Where I think they're saying 22 million people and children go missing every year. And are they putting the children in the McDonald's? That's the other thing, because a lot of the adverts. I mean, it just goes on. What about the KFC advert? That was like dunking people into their special fluids, wasn't it? Their special recipe. Did you see that advert? It was over Christmas. It was horrendous, where they carried a man through the woods, and then they put him in literally
Oh yeah, I
like
saw
a
that.
sacrificial, just showing you, are they doing this to let you know what's really going on in the adverts?
Sass, sorry, before I finish, can I just mention about the detox thing? Because
Oh
I
yes,
absolutely am so
clear.
feeling so clear and clean, and I highly recommend it. And spring is the time of the liver and the cleansing, and it's the time of the natural, as you said, the natural herbs like the dandelions and the cleavers and the wild garlic, the bitter, which are very good for liver cleansing. So this is a very good time to do a liver cleanse, and I have to say I've never done a coffee enema before, but
Haven't you?
that was
Yeah,
no, there was so I thought, oh God, I'm a bit wary of this because it was so strong, the fluid, and I'm like, oh, but it was really amazing, and I felt so wonderful afterwards. So I'm a real fan of coffee enemas now. So I'd really recommend it.
is anybody else on here done a coffee and enema or any cleansing of any or any detox? Perhaps you'd like to share your experience. If you'd like to put your hand up, and then you can share with us all anything you've experienced in terms of cleansing, or perhaps you've been fasting. Maybe you go without, or do you intermittent fasting like I do? I don't generally eat for about 18 hours and break my fast around about one-ish, possibly two. Anybody else that's doing the old cleansing, or that would like to speak about what's going on, the Ian Huntley situation, the Iran situation, how you're feeling in your own world? Is it affecting you in any way? How are you affected by it? How are we affected by the outer situations in the world? Is this going to clobber us with our oil prices and food prices? Is it another excuse just to basically claw more money out of the public? So, Eileen, thank you for putting your hand up and braving it. If you'd like to unmute yourself, we'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you'd like to line up with your hands, we've got Val there, so that we can go seemingly from one person to another, and then it creates a great flow
I don't.
of energy speaking through. So, Eileen, please, we'd love to hear you. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Oh,
really well.
good.
I can see you at the top
Um,
of the screen
I
now as well.
I didn't intend to speak, but I was sort of provoked a little bit. I watched an anti Stop the War um, protest on Saturday, and there was 50,000 Stop the War protesters attending this, and they were marching from, I think it was north of the embankment through to outside the American embassy south of the river. And they had a big platform. It's obviously well prepared and a lot of money's been put into it. Platform for speakers. And I said they estimated about 50,000 people attended that rally. There was also an anti-Iran, pro-America one outside Downing Street. I just got it up on my line. So there was a counter one. But I'm a bit confused because of a lot of the Iranians that are living here actually are supporting um, Trump because they want the overthrow of the Shia rulers. So it's very difficult to think that people that are actually from Iran seem to be quite happy for their country to be bombed into submission of the rulers, so that they can get their freedom. So I'm a bit confused by it because a lot of their families, I think, I just feel that the whole thing will accelerate. And to get rid of the rulers, the Shia Muslim rulers, Trump will just do whatever he feels he wants to. So I said I didn't intend to speak, but
Well, I'm glad you have, Eileen, because otherwise it's not the people speaks out, is it?
well, I would have been on the anti-war, stop the war march if I'd been up and running, and as I was, right from the 2003. So I've been following the Stop the War. I've been actually a member of Stop the War for a long time, so I know when they're planning their protests and everything. And they had the speakers, and in fact, Jeremy Corbyn couldn't be there because he was speaking. I think it was Amsterdam. He'd gone somewhere else. Obviously, there's these protests, anti-war protests all over Europe, but we wouldn't know about that, of course. But I'm a bit confused by the people from Iran themselves that are welcoming this intervention. That sort of throws a spanner in the works for me.
Well, I suppose if you look at it from a perspective of they've been under a regime, in the 70s, you see pictures of really happy, very artistic, free people in Iran.
Mm,
And then obviously now, um, they don't seem to have the freedom, and they're under
mm,
a huge pressure, aren't they, from their kind of morality police and everything that goes on. It seems like the country's been hugely reversed and changed over the last 40, sort of 50 years. And from what I saw of people who were protesting against their government and really feeling it was time to bring the regime down, they were hoping that Trump would do something. And this is only
mm,
what you see in the media, from because we don't really know unless we're there, do we?
mm.
We don't know whether they selected people, whether the people have been groomed or anything. We just don't know.
No.
Let's just say that what they were saying was true, and thousands of them have been executed,
Mm,
um, and they just want someone to come and basically help them to
yes.
overthrow this horrendous regime that they've been under.
Yes.
So in that respect, but then can you really go and interfere in other people's countries and other people's politics? I mean, is it right?
That's right.
You just think, oh right, okay, well we're big and mighty and we've got lots of weapons. We'll go
Yeah.
and because countries only generally invade or do such things when it's
Mm,
their interests.
yeah.
Is it the oil, or is it something much more
Mm,
esoteric than that? Like I said, there's a Stargate in Iran. Are they trying to protect that? Is it about stabilizing the energies in that area, or is it just a free for all where America are just roughshodding over everybody? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because unless
yeah.
we know the real truth, and everything is potentially
Yeah.
deceiving us. Satan
I
is
think it
deceiving.
put Keir Starmer in a very difficult position because we're all remembering all the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Exactly.
And this is what people are constantly reminded about. And I think this is why he's feeling very uncomfortable. I think, I wouldn't like to be in his position. I really wouldn't.
No, or having
Mhm.
Tony Blair as the peace envoy for
Yes. Yeah.
Israel. I mean, just so
Yeah.
counterintuitive. It's just absolutely outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling in spring, Eileen? Are you feeling spring-like? Are you feeling like you need to clear out the cobwebs and do the spring clean, or does it not quite hit you yet?
Well, every day I have a to-do list, you see.
Oh, really? Right.
I've had a to-do list now. I don't know what motivated me with this. I suppose it's because sometimes I could sit back and, especially now I'm housebound. I mean, I've got YouTube. I'm in my bed sit, and I've got access to all this. I spend all day watching everything, all the alternative points of view and everything.
Yes, that's right.
And so to make sure I get on and do something, I've got a to-do list of jobs.
So I suppose that
So
is.
every day is a sort of spring day because on that we'll do some sort of cleaning somewhere downstairs. Um, yeah, no, I do feel that when it's sunny and with the longer days, I just do feel so different, so it's so uplifting. And when it's grey and dull,
Yeah.
I feel it. I think I didn't used to, you see. It's my situation is so different now. And it's like when you have children, until I had my two little boys, the weather didn't worry me because I was up and out. Da, da, da. But as soon as I had my two little boys, I'd be looking at the weather forecast. You know, if we're going out, are we going out? Are they wearing Wellington boots? You know, where are we going? Can we go to the park today? And everything, the weather started becoming important when I had children.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, it's important anyway. I mean, we're in desperate need of some medicine, aren't we? Some sun medicine.
Yeah,
So, well, listen, thank you, Anne. We've got a couple of more people that are wanting to speak.
good.
So, but if you've got anything else and you want to come back, then you'd be very, very welcome. Thank you so much for stepping in
And thank you.
and for sharing your points of view. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And if you could mute yourself so we have the least noise reduction possible, that'd be great. Thank you. Right, I'm going to come over to Val. Val, do come up to the top of the surface, take a deep breath, and what is it that you would like to share with us today? Because it's always lovely to hear from you.
Um, yeah, a couple of things really. I'm gathering you can hear me, can you? Yeah,
Yes, we can
yeah,
hear
oh,
you.
good. Yeah, a couple of things really is yeah, I think I know there's an awful lot of CRAP going on in the world, um, but I find I'm really quite affected by it. So
You are.
I'm not burying my head in the sand, but I try not to listen too much to what's going on simply because it just affects me so badly and I dream about it and I find that I think our frequency and our energy is pretty powerful stuff, and I think I certainly anyway I feel like I have a great responsibility to keep my frequency quite high, and therefore, if I start listening to too much mainstream media or anything like that, it kind of drags me down. And I find things like the adverts and stuff so seductive. I can be sucked into them, and I'm going, oh, hang on a minute. You know, I have to kind of remind myself that they are propaganda. I mean, a lot of us grew up being sort of, I suppose, seduced and persuaded, and we believed in all sorts of stuff that we were given. And I find it's all too easy to slide back into that, especially if you're around people who still believe it. So I feel like I have to protect my energy quite a lot and only sort of take bite-sized chunks, if you like, of what's going on in the world. But I also feel that I mean, I follow sort of channeling and a certain amount of GFL, that's the Galactic Federation, and that sort of thing. And I find them quite inspiring, and that helps keep me on a higher frequency, I hope, anyway. And they talk, and I do believe it actually, they say that we can't be allowed to drop nuclear bombs on each other because not only does it affect our planet, but it affects the whole solar system and it affects everybody else and all the other uh, extraterrestrial life and on the other planets. So it's not just us killing ourselves, we're affecting everybody. And so we're not going to be allowed to do that. And also, I think we've come too far down the sort of enlightenment ascension route to go back to that. Really, I know it's yeah. I know some people just look at the what's going on in the 3D world and think it's absolutely terrible and all of that, but there's still some amazing stuff out there. Just go out into nature, put your feet on the grass, watch the daffodils come out. You know, it's spring's such a great time. Um, I always feel much more optimistic when spring comes around and when I start seeing the bulbs and stuff. Um, but anyway, that yeah. So I feel like time's passing very quickly, almost too fast. I haven't got time to fit everything in. Um, and but also the other thing I wanted to say was I do a sort of intermittent fasting thing, a bit like you do, S.A.S. Where we don't eat after about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then we don't generally have anything much till lunchtime the next day. And we vary it a little bit depending on what our plans are. But I try and do that on a regular basis. and my desires and my preferences about food keep changing all the time as well. And I think that's to do with changing, hopefully raising your frequency, and developing. I'm finding certain things I'm attracted to eating and others not. We're drinking a lot more water out of copper. We're using copper vessels now and filtering water. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wearing copper a lot more. I'm very interested in the whole frequency idea. Um, so yeah, very careful what we eat and what kind of water we have and so forth as well. Um, yeah, so I think I do feel optimistic about the future, but I feel like I'm a sort of in the audience watching. I'm watching from a distance at the moment, just seeing how things unfold. And so, yeah, it's kind of like seeing a play or watching something on the telly. I'm sort of going, oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, okay, that's interesting. But I keep on meditating and praying and envisioning. I can't get the word out.
Envisaging.
That's it. A good future. I think it's coming, but it might take a long time because there's a lot of kind of stuff going on. But I think it's there. It's coming.
I was going to say, talking about copper and copper spirals, have you ever heard of a spiritual community called Damanur, which is in...
Yes, I have. It's on my bucket list.
It's absolutely amazing. I
Yeah.
wouldn't live there full time, but it's absolutely incredible, all the underground temples they've created. If anybody gets a chance to go and visit, it's like a wonder, the ninth wonder of the world. It's absolutely incredible what
Yeah.
they've created. But they, in their supermarket, well, you can't really call it a supermarket, it's not a normal supermarket, where they have their food stocks for the community, everywhere, and the whole of the ceiling is covered in copper spirals to keep the food fresh and energized.
Wow.
And I've noticed that there's more products coming out online, in Instagram and Facebook and those kind of places where they're selling copper spirals for wearing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got one on.
Yeah.
Got my tensor ring on.
So
Yeah.
it's a charge, isn't it? It's an electrical charge that our body needs.
That's right. Yeah.
Copper does.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was finding when I went out and mixed in crowds and things, I was coming home absolutely exhausted. And since I've been wearing my tensor ring, that does make a difference. Actually, it definitely feels better.
Where did you get that from? Perhaps you'd like to put it.
We've got a friend who makes them. People also get them to put round their smart meters as well, and you can get bigger ones. But these are just the personal ones. But yeah.
I've got a necklace with coils. It's
yeah.
Coils and everything to basically protect your body from the EMF. So there's lots of things out there now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And people look into these things because obviously in extreme mental frequencies, like EMFs, are really impacting a lot of people. But I think it's like putting the frog, isn't it, in the cold water that gets heated up very slowly. He doesn't realise it's going to be boiled alive. And I think it's with us, we're not aware of how we're affected. It's a sort of slow burn of all the frequencies building up that are not compatible to human life. So yes, get your copper on, get your crystals like that. I wear to keep your energies elevated. Well, thank you, Val, for your sharing. I'm going to come over to Conrad now because he's got his hand up, being patient, and then we'll go on to Corrine after that. So thank you very much for your share. Obviously, you can come back in. We've still got plenty of time, but it'd be nice to hear from a variety of people. So thank you, Val. Much love, and we'll speak to you later, hopefully. So would you like to unmute yourself, Conrad, please? Lovely, thank you. What would you like to share with us today, Conrad?
My disappointment.
Okay, that's good. We all have disappointments.
In so much as I honestly feel that if we spend all this time discussing what's going on, I think it's very good that we know what's going on. I'm not saying don't distance yourself from it or yes, distance yourself from it, but this is the whole point, is it not? That all these things that are happening are to basically divide us. I mean, yesterday I was at a meeting and someone said, "Who do you support?" And I said, "I don't support anybody. Basically, war is wrong. Full stop. It doesn't really matter who is creating the war, but it is wrong. It is breaking natural law. And I feel it is far more important that instead of trying to decide who's right and who's wrong and whether it should be happening or shouldn't be happening, surely it is better that we work on ourselves. I'm very glad to hear from Val that she meditates and thinks about these things, but then puts them to one side. So she is building her resources within herself so that her energy field, it is our energy fields that I honestly believe are the ones that will finally get all this stuff to stop. And it just means plenty of us doing it, and we will come to the place where we are again truly humane. I saw a meme the other day. It's time for humanity to become human. This is where we need to go. Yes, understand, have a quick look of what's going on, but don't waste your time and energy discussing it. I was really Rachel was she's so good. She's brilliant. What a woman is our Rachel. And she can see this and that and whatever and who's right and who's wrong. But the best part of Rachel's speech was the fact that she shared her detox with us. It was about her. It was about her growing, her energy becoming, what did she say? Free and clear. There is the energy that will stop all this, I honestly believe. And we also have a lovely lady called Pure Love and Light. Well, she has a beautiful light behind her at the moment. So her head is in light as she combed her very sweet looking little dog's hair. I was going to say, I have long hair, and if you like combing hair, you can do mine too. But anyway, this is where I'm coming from, is our building of our energetic force. And I don't like to use the word, but maybe we do need to use that. And I am also glad to see that we have William Blake on board. So maybe he has a poem about it all. That's what I would like to say. Thank you.
So, Conrad, I was going to ask you, how do you keep your energies clear? What do you work on for yourself?
You'd have to ask all the trees that surround me, but as far as I can tell, they're very happy. They're beginning to bud. My daffodils have been divine this year. They're all over my little woodland. And when I'm here in my woodland, I feel I'm riding a huge wave of beauty and energy and love.
Well, that's wonderful. So you're sending that ripples out. Whereabouts are you situated?
Yes.
Which county or whereabouts are you? You're not saying. Are you in the north, south?
Where am I? At the moment, I'm on planet Earth. Had a nice time at the Pleiades last night, but that's another story.
How are they doing? How are they doing with their energies? The Pleiades.
Oh, they're doing absolutely fine. They keep shaking at their heads at all of us who tend to get embroiled in the bullshit and the crap that somebody didn't want to say the word, but it is. But I think they're doing absolutely fine. The main thing is that right now, right here, I feel wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Conrad. So you're somebody that believes in or is a complete. You go down the route of do no harm, cause no loss or injury.
Absolutely.
And a lot of America and supposedly England were supposed to be Christian, and therefore "thou shalt not kill" is a directive that we had. So when we say "thou shalt not kill," does that also mean no killing animals, no killing trees, no killing each other, obviously, but where does it stop? Do not kill. Thou shalt not kill. Is it
Well,
justified
it
to kill
depends
people with
really.
illness? You know,
It really depends where you come from. As for killing trees, every time, well, apart from the ones that the wind took down this winter, I have, I think, 5 trees that came down in the wind this winter. But if I do have to chop down a tree, I make sure that I ask it first. And it usually says to me, well, okay, if you must, but I'm okay with it.
Right. Okay. So it is an interesting, wasn't it, that we look at do not kill, thou shalt not kill, and yet many ways
Yeah.
we do kill in many ways. But obviously,
Yep.
trees falling down is a natural death, isn't it, as opposed to license to kill, as in wanting to bring in what I call euthanasia, which is not really euthanasia. It's just an excuse to get rid of a load of people. So again, that's another thing. Shall people who've seen people suffer at the end of their life, and so I wouldn't let my dog go through that. I think we should put people down if they're in that state. How do you feel about that? Because that's also interfering in the natural order of things, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand your question. You're
Right. So
saying some people should be put down?
well, what I'm saying is they're going to legislate and say it's okay to euthanize people if they're suffering, so that they can take themselves out of this world before they would naturally maybe go down a route to where they've, experiencing suffering, death in many, a sort of a death before death, if you like. There's so many people, aren't there, suffering from Alzheimer's, suffering with cancer, long-term illnesses that render them life not obviously how it is meant to be. Do we think it's okay, if bearing in mind we're looking at thou shalt not kill, is it okay to legislate to kill people before, to stop their suffering, or so-called suffering? How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, legislation is poppycock. It shouldn't. It exists, but it doesn't exist certainly in my world. As for if somebody chooses someone who is been well schooled and is clear in their mind and being that they do not wish to continue living on the planet, I don't think it's such a bad idea. To be honest with you, I know that's for most people sounds terrible, but I don't know if it's because I'm an old codger now, and I don't know how many years I have left, and I'm not afraid of death. But at the same time, is it so terrible that we make a choice to leave? But again, it would have to be somebody who is totally clear in their being and mind that that's what they want to do. I've come to the stage, to be honest, that if the powers that shouldn't be, these people who think they have authority over us, tell me that I have to leave my woodland because it's against their rules, I don't know that I want to carry on living this life, because I love my life, I love my trees, I love anything that is to do with my fellow human beings, where there is love being exchanged. But if I'm going to be put out on the streets, which is what would happen to me if they decided to do that, I don't believe they will. I have, fortunately, many backups in this my particular situation. But even so, if it did happen, it's not the end of the world if I'm one less on the planet.
Well, let's hope it's not too soon, Conrad, and thank you very much for your contribution. I appreciate you stepping in and sharing your inner thoughts. So thank you. If you'd like to unmute yourself or mute yourself, we'll head over to Corrine. And obviously, anybody who's spoken, you are allowed to come back in again. It's not like it's just if there are people speaking, we like to give everyone a chance to voice their concerns or their opinions on things. So thank you, Conrad. Corrine, would you like to unmute yourself? And always lovely to see you on the call.
Hi, S.A.S. Hi, and everyone. Hi. Happy springtime.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God. We at least the right side of winter, which is great.
Come through.
Uh, so one thing, well, there's a few things. Um, Apparently, frogs will jump out of the water. Apparently, they will. I think I've heard that several times from several people. It's like frogs will not stay in the water if it gets too hot for them. So, on that positive note, we're all ready to jump out whatever pan we might be in, courtesy of the government. Uh, let's see. Um, Not to dwell too much on Iran, which obviously it could weep forever, and Palestine and everywhere. Um, I did read a really interesting article on how the US and the UK took out the democratically elected leader back in the 50s, and then they put the Shah in place. And of course, although there might have been some creativity, actually he was a totalitarian regime. And then America basically he had used his purpose, and then they put in another regime. So I think, as ever, it's a complicated situation. I was hoping I could just put a link if anybody wanted to do a deeper dive. However, I'm not occupying myself too much with all of this because really, the blackbird singing outside my window pre-dawn, fills my heart with joy. And I've started sowing my seeds and started to work the allotment. And it's just like, you know what? This is what I want. This is nature. I sing all the time. I get my downloads. And it just even like the singing to my seeds or whatever, it's like I feel that's something I can just put out into the world. Some resonance of love and respect for the earth. And I feel in one way there's very little I, as me, can do for this big world and all that's going on. So it's just, I feel I'm very much of that very, very simple, close to home activities. And yeah, cleansing. Topic of cleansing. Okay, so coffee enemas, great. They're best to do enemas after the full moon. So the week leading up to a full moon is best not to do enemas. But then afterwards, the best day is the day after the full moon, if anyone's interested. And if and also water elements enemas are actually quite good. If you've had a coffee one and you feel like, oh my God, I feel completely peculiar, you can just do a second cleansing enema.
Thanks for that tip.
And also on intermittent fasting. There's a book I worked with for a while. It's called Fast. It's called Fast Like a Girl, and basically, in it puts that actually, if we always fast for the same length of time with intermittent fasting, the body gets used to that, and so it's better really to alter the hours. Maybe do a few days at one level and then change it about a bit, because that means that the body will adjust and work more effectively with that. So that was something that I thought was really interesting to note. One of the things that we went to, you may or may not know of this extraordinary singing group called Geschwaldo 6. There's often little clips on YouTube of them singing in abbeys. They do a lot of early music. And we were very fortunate to go to a concert with a cellist. She teaches at the Royal Academy. And it was so glorious. And I think half of the second half, I think I just wept with the beauty of it. The resonance was so extraordinary. And this sort of weeping with joy and how extraordinary we human beings are, and also with the knowledge that at that time, bombs are dropping on countries, people were suffering, and how to hold it all in one's heart. But it was the most extraordinary evening, and I'm kind of done. I think I'm pretty well done with Radio 4. I often have it on in the car, but then it's like, well, actually, I don't want to listen to this. And now my go-to is Radio 3 or Classic FM. I just don't want to be bombarded with all the stories and where does truth lie? Where does truth lie? who knows on one level, it's got to come back in to something very closer to home. So I think that's all I wanted to, I wanted to say. Just wanted to show willing and
Oh, well,
speak a little.
thank you, Kareem. Really appreciate, obviously, people speaking, because it's lovely and wonderful to hear everybody's take on it, because we're all unique, aren't we?
Mm.
And it's great to have a variety of different speakers and people sharing what's going on for them. So you localize, because obviously there's the wider world and then there's the local, your own local world, and you can get really. Is it best to get really involved in the local, in your local world, and not so much focusing on the outer world, because obviously it's quite grim at the moment. But and does it bring us all down? And
Well, yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, I'm just saying I
Just
don't
gonna
know whether some it's I think some
balance.
people, if you think about how many newspapers or how popular the news is when there's something really horrific going on, um, is there a part of human nature that is fascinated with all that's evil and sort of horrific? And is there a part of us that we what draws us to that? Why do so many newspapers sell when there's a something horrific story going on? Is it just our natural sort of curiosity, or is there a part of us that is still got that reptilian energy? I often wonder if we have that. I mean, we all have the R complex, don't we, which is the reptilian brain. So are we hybrids? And how much of your reptilian genes are still operating? Anybody like to offer anything on that one? But I'm going to come over to James now, Karine. Thank you so much.
I just want to say one thing. Frome, if anyone's fairly local to Frome, the Kindness Festival starts next week.
I love
from
that.
the 14th to the 21st. There's lots of amazing things. It's been organised by the Good Heart, which is a cafe that, yeah, it's just Frome at its best, and lots of really wonderful things are going on during that week. So it's the Kindness Festival in Frome. If you could go online, if you're interested and want to come to any of the events, which are mostly free or just by donation. Yeah, so that's local and it's impacting local people.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's a really good counter
so,
energy to what's going on is the Kindness Festival.
Yeah.
And is there any way of people can just look it up, can they, online?
Yeah, just Kindness Festival Frome.
I would love to know what kind of things are at the Kindness Festival.
Okay, so well, there's a grief network. We in Companion Voices are singing to people who are dying. That children can come and write messages of hope, and they can hang up in trees. There's been a big network through the schools, so lots of children are writing poetry to do with kindness. There's Rob Hopkins is doing on imaging, visioning the future, visioning the world we want, sort of energizing that. Looking at water is part of it. And this little pop-up, two little shops in town where people can drop in and have a cuppa or write a message or get a little badge on kindness. And there's a Winter Wonderland windows. And the message this year, we're linking in with it.
Yeah.
And hope is the message. And we at Amnesty International, we're doing a little stall for people to sign cards, messages of hope that can go to prisoners of conscience. So that's just a little flavour. Oh, there's singing, of course. Frome is always singing.
That's
so
gorgeous, and what a lovely thing. And maybe you could all focus on maybe one little act of kindness that you can do. When does it start?
It starts on next Saturday. So it's from the 14th to the 21st. So it's 8 days.
So that'd be lovely. A little act of kindness. It could be to yourself. It could be to your neighbour. It could be to an animal. It could be to anything. But just to highlight that, thank you, Korea, because that, as Conrad would probably agree with, is what to focus on. Whilst bombs have been dropped and people have been killed, then we focus on the opposite of that, which is the kindness that we can show to one another. So that's a lovely theme, and it should spread throughout the kingdom. So thank you for sharing that, Karine. Much love, and
thank you.
Please unmute yourself, and we'll come over to you, James. Hi, James. Lovely
Hello,
to see you
S.A.S.
online. Hi there.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And I won't do the Bruce Forsyth follow-on.
No, even though I do like Bruce Forsyth.
Yeah, I've particularly enjoyed Val and Conrad and Corinne. There was lots of interesting bits as well. Great stuff. Like Val, I prefer not paying too much attention to the dark side, the wars, and all that sort of thing. Stay positive. I once wrote a little book that I called it something like "As We Think, We Create," and that's the thing. We do need to try to discipline ourselves. It's extremely difficult, of course. Try to discipline ourselves to think positively and look on the bright side of life, because as we think, we create. So always look on the bright side of life. But I think I've changed one or two of the Monty Python lyrics. But otherwise, that's the good thing. And I'm with Conrad as well. I'm not worried like himself. As you get older, it's less of a bother if you think you might pop off one of these days before too long. It's not something to worry about, because people like ourselves, we all know that life's eternal. You can't go wrong. But as war was the topic earlier, there have been a few good channeling bits, like Val might have seen them as well. One particularly good one, very recently, last Saturday, was Anne Tucker, and with an E, and Tucker on YouTube. A nice channeling thing. She channels either angels or one that she calls the Mother of Creation, or one coming through calls herself that, probably, but I don't think Anne Tucker made up the name. But yeah, basically, there's I'll put a link in the chat as well to a cut of the actual channeling part of the session, which isn't very long, and it's basically, there's predicted by that, or suggested, that there will be 3 waves of war, not all to do with Iran, and that basically it will clear the way for peace worldwide properly. And so we hope that's the case. And of course, I shouldn't say hope, I should say we should expect next that to happen.
We're visioning it in.
Pardon?
We're visioning it in.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But because, I'm sure it will happen, because all the guides I see speak of that sort of thing. It's all happening for the not too distant future now. There's lots of ones I share on Facebook. There's lots of links I've got on Facebook as well, to, like, my Find Truth webpage has links to all these different positive channels. I used to share the dark stuff as well, but I took all those down in favour of just sharing now the ones that are positive, and sharing good information, because I think that's more important to, as we say, vision in or concentrate on, because that's what we want to create.
Well, that's how powerful we are as well. Is that
we don't want to get drawn into too, as Conrad said, we don't want to get drawn into too much looking at the dark side, or the dark, the wars, etc., because we're adding to that. We're adding fuel to the burning fire, as it were.
Indeed.
So keep talking to the trees, and keep enjoying life, and so forth. Yeah, that's it. Go with all that. Basically, that's all I wanted to say. I was sort of just joining in to show my support for Val, and so she knows she's not alone. And Conrad's obviously on the same sort of wavelength as well. And so lovely to see you all, and I'll speak again another time.
Well, thank you very much for your uplifting contribution, James. Always appreciate your contributions. So thank you so much, and we'll just come over to the final word from Rachel. Thanks, James. If you'd like to mute yourself, because we are coming up to the top of the hour, and it's all gone very, very quickly, and there's loads of things I'd like to have flushed out and discussed, but anyway, we'll have to wait till the 23rd, which is the next time. Rachel.
Hey, S.A.S, thank you. I have been listening. I just was in the kitchen on my other phone. But I just wanted to to say, like, I don't feel like I was focusing on war. I was focusing on the fact that all of this love and light flooding the labyrinth is having the effect of the system collapsing. And that's what I feel we should be celebrating. It's like it's working, folks. Like it's crumbling before our very eyes under the weight of its own corruption.
Definitely.
And so we are very powerful. So, you know, yes, I spend a lot of time in nature and, you know, doing Om and doing mantras like everyone else, but also I'm not spiritually bypassing. I'm creating awareness of what's going on and I'm following it with interest. I'm not feeding it, but I think it's really interesting to see what's unfolding and what's collapsing. And my observation is that it's the amount of light that is flooding the labyrinth. We're seeing the extent of the horror now, you know, and it's quite an interesting thing to just see unravel before our very eyes, because it's like the whole thing is collapsing before our very eyes, and I think it's wonderful. We are very powerful, and this is what's happening, you know. So that's my last little words on the subject.
I totally agree, but sometimes you have to go through the pain. Some of the pain of the crumbling. It's like if you want to give birth, there's a lot of effort and a lot of labour pains, aren't there, to get a new life out. And sometimes you have to go through what seems
breakdown to get to the breakthrough.
Yes, exactly. And I really feel that that's happening. Obviously, it's traumatic whilst you're moving through it. But as life says, life is working for us, not against us. So if we can see the bigger picture and draw out and see actually that there is a big, huge collapse of the old regimes, of the old systems, and that the people's power is going to be determining how we're going to move forward. Because I think a lot of the leaders are completely lost, have lost the plot, especially Keir Starmer. So they will be stepping aside. But are we going to take responsibility for holding that power? That's the thing. So there's the English National Assemblies, as called TECA, and they're wanting to create people power back to the jury, and actually your own council, your own local councils, being run by the people for the people, and not for the legislative demonic sort of activities that are going on right now. And they need to be swept out of the way, but we have to be prepared to step in and take that responsibility. So are we able to respond to these current circumstances? Because if we keep saying passing the buck, the same thing happens again, is that those that are hungry for power and control will then step into the fore. So each of us can take responsibility on whatever level we can manage. And that's my final say for today, is we need to take the responsibility and not hand it over, and including for our own health as well. Don't hand it over to the doctors, because they are controlled by Big Pharma. So we need to start looking, cleansing, detoxing, or do we feel our bodies are doing that anyway all the time? But there's a huge amount to detox from the air, from the food, from the water. So look to your own environment to clean that up. That's what I say. And then hopefully we can all rise to the surface in our magnificent selves and take over the madhouse. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this, the spring 9th of March, The People Speaks Out. And we'll be back on the 23rd. I think it'll be Rachel to host. And in the meantime, try and keep sane, try and keep the kindness flowing, and lots of love coming from our hearts and being in our hearts and grounding ourselves in this beautiful spring that is going to be turning into the most glorious, beautiful blue skies. So lots of love, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you very soon. If you'd like to give us a wave, and I will be putting this up. I'm not sure where I'm going to be putting it up, whether it be on my own YouTube channel or whether it will be on I forgot what it's called now, the other one. It's just that we don't get that many views on that, where we get more views on YouTube. So I'll decide, I'll get inspiration from the higher energies and see what that directs me to do. So over and out, lots of love, take care till next time. Thanks all, bye bye.